sir.
All right. Podcast World Cabin Studios. This is Caribbean Power Lunch, where it's all about global business from a Caribbean perspective. In 2020, the world changed, and so have we. But we don't change. We don't just change. We evolve. So now this podcast will be focusing on unpacking tips from your favorite entrepreneurs on how to build and grow their business and take it to the next level. Today on the show, we have Jamaican national Kadion Preston, founder and CEO of Caribshopper, an online marketplace that connects Caribbean merchants with consumers in the US and beyond. So instead of us buying products from the US are buying products from us. You know, we get that money flowing to the Caribbean as opposed to from the Caribbean. Kadion, how you doing, sir?
Why, feeling good. Feeling good, Kevin. Thank you for inviting me on the podcast. It's a pleasure and it's an honor.
No problem, man. No problem. And I'm glad you're able to make it. I know you had a long day. I know you just had to numb your mouth at the dentist, and then you had to drink some hot water and wash it out and all of that.
Yeah, man. I had to make sure my mouth never, stalled on me when I was having this podcast. You know it go.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I always recommend, as a Caribbean man, you should be drinking some rum. I mean, rum always fixes everything, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, so Mr. Caribshopper, so usually I would go back to your childhood and try to unpack, hey, all right, so how did you get into entrepreneurship and all of that? But today I want to focus on, so we know that you would have, spent your career in technology. I mean, I also know that you were working in the World Trade Center during 9/11?
Yes, sir. Yes. So let me give you that quick story, right? Born and raised in Jamaica. Mom's an entrepreneur. Dad's an engineer. When I was about 18 years old, I got my first heartbreak. I said, I want off this island. I'm gone. I want nothing to do with this island. So my older brother, lived in New York. He was going to Pace University at the time. And I said to my parents, I'm moving to New York, which they were highly pissed because they wanted me to stay and take over the family business, and two of their boys moving away from the island. So, I was hell-bent on leaving. So I moved to New York, signed up for Hunter College, and, Caribbean man trying to figure it out. Got my first internship at Yahoo. Nice. Was fortunate enough during that time. That was like 98 going into 99. It was when Yahoo was Google. You know what I mean? I was working on 34th Street in the 78th floor, and just the experience. And then my greatest effect was mentorship, because the CEO at that time for Yahoo Desktop News, which is now Yahoo Ticker, which is now Yahoo Finance, started, met me in the lunchroom, and we started to have a conversation. He loved Jamaica, and we just had a conversation. He's like, you know what? I like you. Come tomorrow morning, report to my office. And from then, ever since, I was his tail. I really got to see the level of building a company on a different scale. And he said to me, you're not sure what you want to do yet in life? I want you to work in every single department every single week. And until you find what you love, if them want coffee, they want donuts, you run and get it. But you unpack as much knowledge as you can until you figure out what you want. And I think after 8 months, he said, of all the departments that you spend time with, I started spending longer time in the departments. He said, what do you want to do? I said, I want to learn technology, and I want to focus on engineering, with a little bit of programming. I don't have the patience for programming, but I want to learn it because it's the future. I said, but I want to be a CEO. He said, why is that? I said, because I see what your impact is on every single department, and growing up in an entrepreneur world, seeing my mom start her own business from scratch. And my first business was in high school, actually. I used to be the mixtape man. Me and my friend Dane Chin at St. George's College, we used to sell your Stone Love, your Silver Heart mixtape. So my brethren Dane, his father owned a club, and his father had all the DJs come and play the club. The actual club was a strip club.
Uh-huh.
So then would get from the driver all of the mixtapes delivered to him. And between him and myself, we bought TDK on wholesale, and we would use the parents, dual cassette player. Remember that big sound system you had in the living room?
Right.
Finishing homework and running tapes all night. By the next day at school, we have the latest mixtapes with our cassette in our hand, walking down the block and selling 20, 30 till, 3 years in, from third form all the way up to fifth form, we were the cassette man. As a matter of fact, I nearly never graduated from high school because the principal told me, Preston, I wanted to stop selling mixtapes in the school because one first former complained that you sold him a bad mixtape. I never want to give him back your money. And I said, sir, the little man mash up the mixtape, never know if you use a Walkman. You understand? And he said, well, listen, if I catch you selling mixtapes one more time, you're not going to graduate. And I just passed my CXCs and got an excellent grades.
Mm-hmm.
And he caught me again. And this was my first problem resolution because he called in my parents, told them, listen, Preston has seven CXCs, 4 1s, 3 2s, and 2 3s. He's definitely graduating, but we're not making him walk down the aisle because I told him, if I caught him selling mixtapes anymore, he's out. My mixtapes, I made so much money. I was buying, 250 2-stroke motorcycle and save up enough money for the summer travels and all this stuff. And I'm like, my father said to me, you know what? I tell you, your hard years, you're going to feel. My mother's pissed off, everything. She's like, you know what? All your graduation stuff not happening anymore. And I'm like, so how am I going to get out of this? So I think, and I went to Hector Stevenson at the time, Mr. Stevenson. I said, Mr. Stevenson, listen, sir, here's the deal. You're going to St. George's College Old Boys is an old boys structure that is consistent with supporting the school year after year. Your accolades for new students come from the old boys. And you're going to take the chance of not allowing me to say I graduated from St. George's College. When down the line, I could be an old boy that impacts St. George's College in a way that helps to bring more morale. I'm able to sponsor and support the growth of the school. And because I'm doing a business that for the last 3 years, I've had 90% satisfied customers, one bad customer, and I did what I was supposed to do at school. You're going to deny me of walking on that. I said, Mr. Stevenson, I would like you to think about that because I'm going to be the next great entrepreneur. And little did I know that was not going to be true. But Mr. Stevenson thought about it and said, Preston, you aired the case well. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to sweep up the yard every morning till you graduate, and you'll graduate. You have to show up every morning, and you have to sweep up the driveway of the school every morning before you go to class. And I did it, and I graduated. But I say that to say, all these lessons, when I graduated college, my first job was at a Wall Street trading firm managing their day trading platform as a technician.
Right.
And I thought I was just like in heaven, right? Because I'm driving out to Great Neck, New York. I'm 21 years old. They say, they're paying me $40,000 a year as salary. And that was like, I call my parents. I'm like, I hit the lotto.
Because you multiply that, you convert that to Jamaican one time. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, man. I convert it long time. I'm like, I'm rich. And little did I know that was just the beginning of a rocket ship. And it's something that is very interesting because, when I signed my agreement, they said, you get bonuses 3 times a year. So, all right.
3 times a year?
Yeah, 3 times a year, right? Okay. And it was a trading firm, right? So it's based on the company's profits. And my brother at the time was working for, I think, PricewaterhouseCoopers as a trader. as a programmer. And I was like, so what's bonus look like? So you get a $500 every quarter or something like that. So I said, all right. It's early 2000s. This is when internet stocks are like crazy.
Yeah. That time, That time is
Yeah,
they
so
hot,
man, I'm working on trading platforms, I'm fixing computers, I'm doing all of this stuff. And then one paycheck, I get an extra check with my check. And I look at it and say, no, sir, mistake this, man. Carry it back to HR. Carry it back to HR. And HR said, as HR, you give me the wrong check.
That's any wrong check.
She said, what are you talking about? She laughed. She said, no, man, it's not the wrong check. That's your quarterly bonus. I said, but that's half of my salary. As a quarterly bonus? She said, yeah, the firm is doing well. She said, you should see the other bonuses. I said, right, take it. I got a $20,000 check 3 months into the job, and I was already making a great salary. I was just like blown away. Lifestyle change. It was just ridiculous at that time. But move forward, the company started expanding, and they had rented a space originally in World Financial Center. My boss at the time was a Trini by the name of Radesh Ramadan, right? So you had a Trini. No, sorry, Radesh was Guyanese. Sorry, you had a Guyanese boss, right?
Right.
You had a manager of the technicians named Lou, who was a white boy from upstate New York, cool as hell, knew everything, but was just chill. You had me as a Jamaican, and you had another Black American. So Radesh said, you know what? I'm going to send you down to Wall Street every day. And I thought it was a demotion, Kevin. I thought, my God, I'm leaving headquarters to now where I used to just drive to work, have a nice little commute, get into work at 7 o'clock, enjoy my ride. Now I have to jump on the train, go down to Wall Street, cross the bridge, go into World Financial Center, deal with the hustle and bustle. Before I was in Great Neck, New York, so I was just like, man, I'm pissed. I'm gonna quit.
I'm gonna quit.
So I remember calling my mentor at Yahoo, David, the CEO, and I said, David, this is what happened. He said, listen to me. He said, uncomfortableness is the first part to success. Are you comfortable where you are in Great Neck? I said, yes. So then there's no room to grow. He said, go down to Wall Street, get uncomfortable. You never know what doors will open up for you. So I go down there. All right. So your job paying you well, you're learning, you're 1 year into this, you're young. Go down there. So I go down there, I'm working. A year and a half into it, guess what happens? The company switches or makes our offices bigger down in World Financial Center and makes the World Financial Center the primary office.
Okay.
Moves the head office to the World Financial Center. And it so happened that Gary, the owner of the company, appointed me as the senior technician. And unfortunately, my friend Radesh was really pissed off about that. He still had his position, but then I oversaw 15,000 traders and had my own team that I managed. And Radesh
15,000, insane. I think I made a mistake.
No, 15,000. No, hold on. No. It was 1,500 traders in the World Trade Center, sorry. And it was about 800 in the World Financial.
Okay, but that's still a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot. And they were expanding. It's a company by the name of Andover Trading, owned by Gary and Mike Picozzi. Big company. They exited probably about $500 million when they exited in like 2005 or 6 or whatever the case may be. Long story short, built out the office, hired a couple island guys, just came out of school, working at the World Financial Center, working in that office, managing the floor. And long story short, Kevin, the morning of 9/11, I am in my office, we're getting ready for trading. It was 20 minutes before the market opened, and we feel the building shake. I said, Ratty, what that? So I see maintenance. I look outside. We're on the 16th floor. I see maintenance, shuffling. Let me go downstairs and see what's going on. At that time, it was a Jewish holiday, and none of the owners of the company were there. So at that time, it was two managers that were running the office, myself and Richard Gwen. And so when we went downstairs and looked, we got enough time to see the second plane hitting the World Trade Center. And I thought this was Armageddon. I said,
yeah, I can imagine.
I am dead. This is it. So ran back upstairs, told the risk manager we're packing up everything, we gotta go, the world's on fire, right? There's a war going on, something going on and we don't know about it. Then the sirens went off to evacuate the building, we had to take the stairs, took all the important stuff, and literally sat there outside the building, worried about my technicians who were on the 80th floor of the World Trade Center, building 2, and the traders there, and watched the building, watched people jump out of the building, watched the building burn, and then eventually I jumped in my car and went north to my brother in the Bronx, and the building collapsed.
So you literally saw people jumping out of
everything. I saw everything. I saw everything. Every single thing. I had to go to counseling for a little bit to just get through that. And I probably went to about 20 to 30 funerals. I luckily for us, we lost a couple of traders. One of the technicians I hired, I can't forget his name, is Timmy. He got burned. He went on the Oprah show from debris coming down. It was a serious time, but all a part of the story, all a part of the journey. All a part of the journey. That made me want to move out of New York. So
yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. So that's when you headed across to Miami.
Yeah, me and my brother, we moved to Miami Beach and started our dev shop. We started building hospitality software and web development and started managing some big clients in Miami and growing our company. And then of course, the downturn in the economy in 2007 or 2008 happened. Yeah. That was another great lesson. And so all in all, but one of the things that was on my mind, Kevin, to tell you that story, to say doing something impactful in the Caribbean was always on my mind, right? And growing up, I remember when my mom had the children's store, and she used to import like Oshkosh Bigosh and all of these stuff. Her business didn't grow as fast as when she opened up a small warehouse with seamstresses and had them make the same styles locally, brought in the textiles, and was able to appeal to a different market that wouldn't be able to buy the children's clothes sold in the stores by the big brands because of the brand pricing. So now we had what we call Chucky Kids, a brand that was same style sheets, good quality, made local. And my brother and I, we had the idea to make online shopping easier for the Caribbean, right? Because we were sick of the post boxes. We're sick of our family members calling us to buy this, buy that, because the card won't work or this or that. And so we built Caribshopper in 2016, originally for the import of US goods, right?
All right. So just 1 second. Just 1 second before you continue there, right? Because I think it's really important just to kind of delve into, the reason, the impetus behind Caribshopper, right? I said shutter. Yeah, behind Caribshopper, right?
Top shutter.
Top shutter Caribshopper. Top shutter Caribshopper.
Yes, sir.
All right. So initially you wanted to solve an import issue just because, essentially you were fed up, right? And you were essentially entrenched diaspora.
Like Bounty, poor people fed up, So tired of packing up your suitcase, tired of getting that car. Can you buy this on Amazon for me? Can you drop it off at my shippers? Can you do this? Can you do that? I mean, and also, our network, all our friends had the same problem. There wasn't one friend that didn't have the same problem, right? So we knew what the challenges were. It was payments. It was retailers allowing our gateway, allowing our IP addresses to shop on their platforms. and it was the shipping simplification of it. So when we built the first Caribshopper, we did some really amazing things, I would say. One, we were the first to do cardless shopping, so you could shop on Amazon and Macy's and Walmart and all of these companies with cash, right? We integrated with a top-up network to allow people to bring their cash to a top-up network, get a Caribshopper PIN, log into Caribshopper, load the PIN, and had that amount of money represented on their account they could buy from any of the retailers we integrated. And we had integrated with over 150 retailers, which was a cool part. And then we partnered with DHL to deliver directly to your door. But little did we know, and while we made it very convenient, it still wasn't Caribbean. So freight forwarders, they put a beating on us. In Jamaica, we went up against the big boys, and while they could manage, the brokerage side of things, the clearance side of things, we thought that transparency was part of the product market fit for the customer, because that would be a complaint. People said they wouldn't know what the product cost landed. But when we did that and you had to pay for it up front, people felt like they could work with their local freight forwarders to get it cheaper, and that's the Caribbean way. So in markets like Jamaica and Trinidad, we did okay, but we didn't do great. In markets like Cayman and Turks and Antigua, we did great because their duty structure was very simple. You understand? It was either this or this, and their spending powers were different. So, once we started getting deep into it, and we had applied for, one of our mentors told us to apply for Techstars to really grow the company and get really close to the big retailers, and we did that. And we went.
So Techstars, that's like a tech accelerator / incubator or something like that?
Yeah, it's the largest in the world.
Okay. Bigger than Y Combinator and all those guys?
It's bigger than Y Combinator, but it's number 2 to Y Combinator. So the number 1 accelerator is Y Combinator. The largest is Techstars. Techstars is in more places in the world than Y Combinator. But if you ever talk about number 1 and number 2, it's Y and then Techstars.
Interesting. All right, so just kind of touching back on the business model a bit. So you said people were able to preload essentially like not a Caribshopper card, but they're able to preload their Caribshopper account.
Yeah.
So essentially, you're making these products available to the unbanked.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We thought Oliver doing something in that time. He did give me a kudos on that.
Okay. So you're helping out the unbanked, so people who may not have had access to a credit card and all of that. You also had partnerships with Amazon and eBay and Walmart and stuff. Like, how were you able to get the partnership with Amazon? Or is it like that kind of fulfilled by or something?
No. We, because of Techstars, before we were doing scraping, and because of Techstars, we got direct access to Amazon, to people in Seattle. Built into their API, actually got approved for their we call it what is it called again? Where every sale that we brought to Amazon, we got paid a commission.
Right.
Their affiliate structure. So we got approved on their affiliate structure, and because we took the risk on the transaction, so if Kevin ordered on Caribshopper, it was being processed on Caribshopper's processing, and Caribshopper was paying Amazon, right, through our account. So it indemnified some of Amazon's risks, and it gave them that bulletproof that they wanted. And as we started building out, I think the more conversations that we had every month with our Amazon partners, they got the bug, and we saw them do a partnership with Western Union for cashless buying for Mexico, and then they turned it into Caribbean. And in 2018, they launched in Jamaica directly. I told them they're going to still have to figure out the duty structure, but they'll learn, right? Caribbean people are different. But now today you can buy directly from Amazon. So when we saw that in 2018, we said it's only a matter of time before all our partners, we're just a middleware. So we don't own the customer, and it's not a good use of capital. So we always had this idea for Project Grow Local. And so we said, all right, let's take 2019. It's a hard decision. We sat down with our board, we sat down with our partners, and we said, listen, we're going to wind down this business because we don't think it's a good use of capital, because longevity isn't there, right? And we're looking at certain components. And while we have some semblances of product market fit, we're not feeling the strength of the business in the long term, right? And we're fighting two different battles. We're fighting our partners who are the actual product providers, and now we're fighting the freight forwarders locally. So it was just, we felt like the best use of capital was to explore what we call Project Grow Local. And we spent 2019 doing that. And I think that's when we met Kevin, right?
Right.
On my many trips to Trinidad, eating doubles and having a great time. By the way, I love Trinidad. I can't wait till you guys open the border. I need to come. This is just ridiculous now, but who am I?
Yeah, and I like Jamaica too, man. So all right, so you tell me more about this pivot, right? So you decide, okay,
so 2019, jump on a plane, flew to every single island that we plan to onboard within the next 2 years, met with small, medium businesses, large scale businesses, to see if what we were proposing as a marketplace for Caribbean made products, bringing the Caribbean culture closer to people who live away from the Caribbean, is something that they would be interested in. So once we started picking up steam in that and seeing that the value was being appreciated, we started doubling down. And by, I want to say, October 2019, we started working on team, putting together money to start getting the business going. And then by, I said February, we inked a deal with the WePay guys to get us going. And then from there, we started building out the platform even more, the team. We started really assessing how do we infiltrate Jamaica and Trinidad. And it was an uphill battle. It was an uphill battle while it was a necessary need for the merchants to export their product, especially when people are not traveling anymore to buy, right? They didn't prioritize it. They didn't prioritize the onboarding. They were scared of the technology. And so we had to literally do the hand-holding. You'd be surprised. We had to literally do the hand-holding all the way through. And today, that took about 6 to 8 months. It was a struggle. And by the time we got a good amount of product on the platform, we launched in beta at the end of October. We started testing our process. And now, we feel that we're prime time now to go loud in the market. We have, over, I want to say 68 merchants in Trinidad and counting, onboarded onto the platform. We have about 220 in Jamaica. Trinidad was a little bit more of a challenge for us because we couldn't fly into that country. While I could get into Jamaica and solve the problems locally and get more press and get more support, Trinidad, because of how you guys locked down, was a slower transition. But it's moving fast now, so we're happy about that. And what we're finding is that our structure is giving small, medium, even large-scale businesses the visibility, and the consumers living away the access to home. And that's the game plan. In one hand, we saw the problem of helping merchants to expand and grow and scale their business easily with a marketplace. And on the other hand, we're helping the members of the diaspora, people who love the culture, to be closer to the culture and in the world that we live in. So, today on a team call, I hear a Canadian customer cussing us out that, how we just doing the US and we don't reach Canada yet. This is foolishness. And we need to get our act together because we're an e-commerce company. So, it's exciting times, for sure.
Yeah, and I like that you say that, right? Because we were talking about this just pre-show, but a lot of people in the Caribbean, a lot of small businesses are saying, "Hey, let me try my hand at e-commerce." right? But it's really difficult to get that right. So I really wanna just get from you in terms of that strategic element. So one, how did you really nail down product market fit? Like, how did you decide who are the best customers for me to target? Who are the customers that I could create the most amount of value for? The customers I like working with the most, and who are the customers that to create the most amount of value for?
Right. So interestingly enough, learning product market fit was something that Techstars taught us well, right? And we went through with a bunch of questions, a bunch of understanding. When we interview, like I'd sit down with Kevin and say, Kevin, tell me your greatest challenge, why, X, and we go through the various scenarios. And once we started noticing that there's a trend, right, and that trend is an applicable problem across multiple cross sections, and you'd see it, right? Once you start tabulating that data is what going to answer you, and then you then put up surveys to ask questions. So we did a preliminary survey in the beginning before anybody knew what we're doing, right? We pushed out a Facebook ad with a picture of home and asked a bunch of questions. If you could get any product right now, what would it be, right? And a bunch of diaspora people answered, and we made it fun. And a lot of people answered, and they threw products out there, and that became our initial targets. Because once we saw multiple responses on a specific product, that we knew that those merchants were the first targets to onboard. Then before that, when in 2019, when we were talking to merchants, we kind of got an understanding of their challenge. Because look, they can put up a website, right? They could use PayPal for payment. The customer wants their product, and they could ship with a post office, right? Mm-hmm. So what's stopping you from doing e-commerce? It's putting it all together and managing the process, right? And what we learned is that between small, medium, and even large, didn't stack the team to support e-commerce. And a lot of businesses thought that it was just, okay, I'll do this without any expertise. And it takes expertise to manage it, to manage the process. And that's how we knew that for us, the marketplace model and the Amazon of the Caribbean model was the right model for our people because of where they were in the growth stages of e-commerce and their comfort levels, due to the fact that in this model, all we ask them for is, give us your product. We do the rest. We do the logistics, we do the payments, and every 2 weeks we send you a deposit to your account in US dollars of all the sales that you made. And when you go ahead.
Yeah, but what about the marketing? Most importantly, because I know I saw that you mentioned that you guys do the marketing, but who could really market somebody's product better than them?
Very true. So if you look at how we stacked our team, with former members of who are SMEs, we actually hire people who they love this, they live this daily. You understand? Anya Young, she's an SME. She's been a warrior for that area. You understand? Catherine Goodall was our CMO. She worked for a lot of the manufacturers and understand the pain point. So within the onboarding session, we take data from the merchant, right? And just like Amazon or Etsy, they don't know the products that well. What they do know is that products sell if they're good. So at the end of the day, we put good product description out there, good product images, customers are able to identify it, and the merchants do their job on their channels, talking about their product, selling their product, so people can talk about their product. We'll be the destination. We handle the logistics, we handle the payments, we handle the customer service, and we market the Caribbean on one platform. You can find anything, and that's our goal. Part of our flywheel is to make it that we are the destination for Caribbean-made products. And I'm sure there's a lot of competitors coming up, and I embrace it because it's growth in the industry. But we want to be the number one place when people think about, I want something Caribbean, I'm living in Mississauga. I'm living in Boston, Massachusetts. I want this delivered. And to date, even in beta, without us spending anywhere near our budgets in marketing, we've shipped over 1,272 products across the US in, I want to say, 22 states, if I'm not mistaken. And then in December we did a pilot in Canada, and we've done about 95 products to Canada. We've stopped it because we need to fix certain VAT issues for Canada, and we're getting ready to launch Canada in second quarter. So
okay,
we have tried and tested it in the sense that our product market fit study from both the merchant side and the customer side is make it simple for the merchant and make it accessible for the consumer, and that's our job.
And I guess, and so the takeaway for entrepreneurs in the Caribbean who want to create an e-commerce platform, no matter who you want to face, even if you're facing the US, Africa, wherever it is to always think about that end-to-end solution. You can't just be providing one end of the value chain. You have to be doing the logistics. You have to think about the marketing. You essentially have to be that person's outsourced shop, essentially, right? Okay.
That's because we're, companies in the Caribbean are not investing in this. So they're not hiring a Kadion Preston to run their e-commerce division, right? They're just expecting it to work. So they put it up on a website. They get these orders. They don't have nobody fulfilling. They nobody have tracking. Nobody's doing the logistics. Nobody's making sure the customer receives the product when it's a process, right? Chargebacks, understanding the whole payment processing side of things, and moving the money in an efficient way is the challenges that they face. So we are your e-commerce partner. That's our goal.
So you and I know Shopify was the inspiration, right? So you log on to Shopify. No?
Shopify, no. See, okay. Shopify were created singular stores, and when we did our study, the singular store model still required the manufacturer or the merchant to maintain that, to have a cost on that site. And so we really realized that would be burdensome and that would slow down the process of progression. So we went with the marketplace. Shopify is a hosting and simple hosting for e-commerce, but we went marketplace, which is a totally different model. And that's the differentiation between Amazon and Shopify. If you want to speak of Shopify, I would say our friends that we pay went to Shopify model. Right?
Okay, got you. Okay, I think I got you. Okay, so it's really about platform versus, okay, this is my company. This is becomeinvestable.com. We want to sell some merchandise, so we just plug in some Shopify, similar to how you would add. What's this WordPress plugin? Is it WooCommerce or what have you? So okay, so it's just like your own shop, but you can't be a distributor for somebody else's shop, and you won't be a platform for somebody else's shop. It's just not as powerful as what you are trying to build. Or, I mean, what you're building. And,
we built.
What you built. When I say I was trying.
It's ready.
Yeah, no, I was saying trying. I mean, I was going to say trying to do like in terms of like what Amazon does. Amazon is the aspiration. Sure. in terms of this sort of model. Yeah, I was definitely not trying to insult the Caribshopper.
No, man, I'm joking, man. I don't think so, man. and interestingly enough, our model is a little bit different from Amazon. Well, quite different from Amazon. We don't allow resellers on our platform, so we deal directly with the manufacturers. And the reason for that is, if we're able to affect small, medium, and large-scale manufacturers with growth, right? We're now distributing their product direct to consumer and able to share data. We're able to help them to manufacture better. We're able to help them grow on different levels, you understand? And we believe that will spur new job openings. It will also spur new champions. So Kevin sitting at home, is a great artisan and feels like for him to have a living and have a family, he can't do what he loves to do. He can't execute it. So he gets a visa and goes to America and go work 80 hours a day just to have a family and live that dream, right? When he would be much happier in the Caribbean, in Trinidad, doing what he loves, and he can make a quality product, and now he's able to grow. this is the fourth industrial revolution, right? This
for
is what
sure.
it's all about. You know what I mean? So in entering to that, like we're very deliberate in how we're positioning ourselves, and so you will see as time goes, and I know you've been a good support for us. You'll see how we shape out and how we bring the e-commerce revolution from a marketplace standpoint to the region.
Got you.
We're truly excited about what's coming down the line.
Got you. Just to kind of touch on marketing one more time. I don't want to beat it like a dead horse.
No,
but all right. So your target market in terms of the customer. So we understand how you handle the merchant, and you reach out to them. It's a kind of outreach kind of campaign. Hopefully, it becomes a little bit more inbound. I mean, we could talk about that offline if you want. But
so interesting. It's becoming inbound now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was outbound. It was a hard fight up until January of this year.
Mm-hmm.
So from April of last 2020 all the way to January 2021, it was all outbound. We were beating the pavement.
Right.
And now we have pipelines of merchants that we're struggling to onboard, right? Because we knew that it would shift. Success would shift it. Once merchants start talking about, yo, this thing working for me now. I'm selling. You understand? I'm fulfilling orders weekly. And they tell their peers, because people, are clusters, it would make things easier. Once the word got out there that we're doing some good and that our value is being created, then we knew that the hands turned and started turning in January for us. And December was one of the best months for us. Obviously, we started in November, but December was a great month for us. We're seeing a good conversion rate on traffic, and we're seeing growth in multiple areas of the business. Obviously, we're at the beginning stage, but it's very positive growth, and it definitely signals to us that this is something that we can double down hard on now.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that December was good. I mean, you also have to look at, all right, so December is Christmas time. Your market is the diaspora. The world is on lockdown, so they can't go home, but they want to feel a little bit at home. So they want to get that. You want to get those tasty patties. They want to get some catch. You want to get some roti, whatever it is they want to get, or the spices that you sell, or the Rasta sandals, and Kelly sandals, and all of these things, right? But how do you expand that diaspora's appetite, right? So I mean, there are the people who know it from their childhood, or who parents grew up there. But what about their neighbor Fred, or the
So that's very interesting. So today, 60% of our transactions, no, 50, now let me give you the right numbers. 52% of our transactions come from a member of the diaspora. Interesting enough, 26% came from family members in the Caribbean sending gifts to family members living away from home, right?
Okay.
The rest was American and Canadian who just loved our countries.
No direct ties to the.
Their ties, they love the culture and they spent time there. Somebody told them, and interestingly enough, a lot of those people, because we spent a significant time in the beginning doing a lot of SEO, did Google searches for their products, saw us in the top, clicked on it, bought, loved it, left a survey, left a reminder, and repeated shop. So we are from our marketing team, we know that our first customer is diaspora. Our second customer is the customer from home who has a loved one living away, whether it be your brother, your son, your daughter, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, whatever. Somebody's connected to somebody and needs to make somebody happy, right?
Right.
And then the third market is the lovers of the Caribbean culture, right? And so if you look on our style, which we're gonna augment the version 2, you'll see that our style is not like the original Caribbean. It has our branding is a little bit boutique and also rustic. So we can have the craftsman on the platform, and we can have the chandelier on the platform, and it all blending together. So and at the same time focus on the products and Caribbean made and the nostalgia. So we're hoping that we're able to expand on that. And, programs like this, Kevin, I'm sure all your listeners are Caribbean, right?
Yeah.
So, we're getting the word out there. We're getting the word out there.
Yeah, most, I would say probably close to 50% around there of the audience who listen to this podcast are actually they're outside of the Caribbean. So, of course, US is a large contingent. You got a good bit from California and all of that stuff. But it's kind of going back to you, right? So earlier you spoke about, you want to own that customer relationship and everything, right? So my question for you for Caribshopper, so when you handling the logistics, the marketing and everything for the merchants on their behalf, but who gets the end customers' data? Who gets the end customers? We share it.
So we were very, very specific about that. Why? Right. Because at the beginning of this, our mission is to grow exports in the Caribbean. And we can't keep that data. We have to share that data in order for the merchants themselves to grow. Because at the end of the day, Kevin, the old school Caribbean thinking is, exclusive, hold it in, keep everything to yourself so nobody can take nothing from you. That's bullshit. You understand? Sorry for cursing, but that's bullshit.
You're good, man. You're good.
The world has taught us. Elon Musk has put out his battery technology for the last 10 years. His company does not copy him, but still can't duplicate him, right? Because he puts out a good product. Understand? How many programming languages have put it out there for free? And it grows. At the end of the day, we know what we can do with the data. We also know what the merchants can do with the data. Because if I share with a merchant that, listen, your product selling in California, you need to go find a distributor and make more product and find a store to sell your product in California. I've just helped him to be successful. And me helping him to be successful, by extension, we become successful because he's not going to leave us. Only very few people turn their backs on support. Again, very few people, and those are the people we don't want to be partners.
Exactly.
Our merchants are our partners.
Gotcha.
And we have no exclusivity. So if they want to list with us and list their product with somebody else, love it. Because the goal is, once the merchant sells more, once we're able to impact the growth in the Caribbean, right, and make the customers smile who live away from home, our job is done. That's our job.
All right. So I want to, before we get into, the raising capital to grow the business, because of course, being a tech platform, that type of business model is where, it calls for a good bit of
money.
It consumes money in the early until you get critical mass, and then it starts to show a profit. Right. So you're able to get that partnership with WePay, I believe in February of last year, was it?
Yeah.
All right. How did that go, and what does that partnership do for you?
So that partnership with WePay was, extensive relationship. Alwyn and I were working on deals and collaboration in 2019, and so there was a fit, and we went into a small partnership that helped give the business a small push. Tied with the small investment from WePay. My brother and I, we invested also and doubled down on the business. And then in September this year, after 72 VCs pitched, 26 loved it, said, we're early, come back to us when you have traction. Like a Kevin Valley told us, back in the it's true. Hey, it's true. It's true.
I was like, hey, where's the end? Anyway. Dave, cut that out. That's David's the editor. Okay. So, all right. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Man, in September, we were able to raise 1.4. Shortly before that, we raised another 150. So we're total 1.55 million. And we're not done yet. We have another million to raise, and we're very close to raising it. We're excited about the new partners coming in. Our total raising our seed round supposed to be 2.2, but I think we're going to end up with 2.4. But it's been a long road. Like I thought we'd have been done raising capital by, March of last year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we in February this year and we're still not done with the road yet. So it's been a haul.
I understand you spend about 2.5 hours each day just researching investors and all of that. So I mean, just like walk me through that lead up to actually securing that 1.4 million from Delta Capital.
Wow. So
yeah, and the reason I asked this is because
no, go ahead. It's public knowledge. It's public knowledge.
Okay.
Good. It's public. I mean, so the Delta relationship, so things never happen the way it's set out to be. So Delta relationship happened actually in 2019 when I was on a panel at Tech Beach, and I was on the stage with Anthony Dunn, Aldwin, of course, and Lauren, and Zach was in the audience actually.
Okay.
So after I spoke, came off the stage, Zach was like, "Hey, good talk, man." And he's like, "Yeah, I like what you're doing." And we sat down and we talked, and I think we grabbed a coffee and just kick it, and nothing to it, because I met him before, more on a social level, and then we just sit down and talked, and we never even talked about investment or anything like that. We just talked business.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward, I want to say August of 2020, somebody pinched me and said, Zach starting a new, venture spin-off from SSL called Delta Cap, and he's the CEO, he's a chairman, sorry. And so I said, all right, made some contacts. Zach said, definitely interested. We pitched their entire team. We had a second pitch. We shared the financials. We went through the whole 9 yards, and they said they wanted to take half the round out. So we were very excited. They said they needed time to do the due diligence. Due diligence was done, contract signed, and the rest is history. And that was over a year. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Within that time, we like I said, we picked 72 total VCs out from Trinidad to Jamaica to the US, to even Belize. I mean, just know, as a startup founder, there is nothing more important than determination and relentlessness. And I want to say, having the knowledge and having the right people around you is critical, because it helps you make good decisions. But there are many nights, Kevin, where I sit back and I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm at, hour number 14. I'm tired. I have to keep pushing. It's not easy. It's not glorious. There's nothing glorious about it. It's 8 o'clock, 8:47 right now. I've been up since 6 a.m. this morning, which is 1 hour later than I'm normally up every morning, right? And I'll probably be done at 10 p.m. Sorry. Understand? To get back up at 5 a.m. And we have a team of 15 and growing. So think of that. And there's nothing glorious in this entrepreneur life. You really have to be convicted about what you're doing. Understand what it's going to take to get there, and be relentless in that pursuit, because every single day is a day either of triumph or failure. And through those ebbs and flows, your emotions go through that. You understand?
Yeah.
So it is not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, I mean, definitely putting on my PE/VC hat. I mean, one of the major things we look at when early stage companies come to us, because a lot of the early stage companies won't necessarily have a whole heap of revenues and profits just yet, but we have to look at who's the founder, who's the team behind them. So you mentioned that you have 15 people on your team, and you stress on the importance of the team around you. So just tell me, like, in real briefly, like, how do you go about selecting and onboarding your team?
So another thing I learned through my career, every interview, every employee, I have to be at that interview. We have to understand the culture of the company. You have to really be deliberate about that action. What type of people you want working with you, right? And when you itemize that characteristic, a very good mentor of mine really helped me to hone in on this. And he's a great guy, Andre Bayo, Trinidadian, great guy. He lives in Barbados right now. But Andre would say, you're honing on the characteristics. You write those characteristics down, right? Of what you want each team member to possess. Right? 4 things. Keep it simple. And then when you write out each position that you need filled, because what happens is you're burning, it's like, oh, we need a person for this. And you have to stop that knee-jerk reaction and say, okay, what is the goal for that position? And when you write it differently and you write down the goal for that position, then you know the kind of person, and then you go to market and you look for that person. And when you see those dots line up, right, that's when you've taken out a lot of the guessing, because hiring people is all guessing. Because I'm only seeing the representation, I'm seeing a resume, and you're telling me this, and I no way to verify that. I have to go off of, if you're checking the specification I set for that position, and if you're checking if I think that you can accomplish based on what you've said and based on what we have done on the goals for that position. And once we change the way we thought about each position as a goal for the position, it changed the way we hire completely.
Gotcha. Okay, so we speak about the Billionaire Right team and everything, right? But I listened to you before. I listened to you earlier, and you're saying, you're up all of these hours. You have to keep going. But I mean, another factor that we look at when investing in a company. I know you're early stage, so it's okay, and you're a young guy. But what about, like, can the company survive without you? Can the company operate in your absence? Because if not, essentially the biggest risk to the investor is you.
Sure. So, and that's why the investment company takes over D&O insurance.
Takes what?
A D&O insurance.
That's like a key man, and that's another form of key man insurance.
Another form of key man insurance. And on top of that, I have a co-founder, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
your brother.
My co-founder is my brother. We don't travel on the same plane together anymore. We go to family events. We drive separately, right? So those are the new stipulations. Anything can happen in life. So
oh my God.
And you have to build. You have to get in the mindset of building a process that's
replicable.
Replicable.
Mm-hmm.
So even on my way over to the office today, I just did some work on at the dentist, and I was on my way here. I was like, there's a position in my company right now that we need to document all the processes in, because if that person should ever come to me and say, you know what, I quit, we in trouble, right? And it's thinking about that, thinking about, at one point, Kevin, I want to grow this business so big that I'm no longer the CEO.
Yeah, exactly.
You understand?
Exactly, that should be the goal. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I know where my limits are. I will not be managing a company of over 150 members of staff, because what the stress I'm dealing with 15 and keeping that unity and that communication together. I don't even know what it looks like at 150, 200 people. So I know where where I'll be, where I can go to a different position, like head of product or something like that, or put me on the board, or chairman or something like that. But at the end of the day, you have to have that level of security, not insecurity, but security in yourself, understanding yourself, and that emotional confidence that, okay, this is where we are. We're either good at it or we're either bad at it. We need to fix it or we need to make it better. And here's the things that we need to put in place, because the worst thing you can do is all the hard work put in place. And we're all human, so mistakes are made. But to make a mistake that you know not to make is where you'll flog yourself for an eternity. And in one of our, interesting enough, in one of our previous startups, my brother and I learned that lesson very hard. I mean, I think this is number 3 for us, so we have exited the 2.
Mm-hmm.
We failed at 2, exited 1, and now we're on our 4th right now.
Well, congratulations on the exit.
Yeah, it was a long time coming.
Yeah, man. All right, so I think I have about maybe 3 questions left. Well, I don't have any questions written down, but in my head, I have about three questions left. So, how do you scale this business? How do you make this business? I mean, so you're clearly investable enough that you're able to attract capital and everything, right? But I mean, how do you take it to the next level? Like, what do you think needs to happen?
Oh, so this is where it gets exciting for me. Next level is now turning on gasoline. This is it's a very scary time. The month of March is a very scary time for me because we spent October, November, December, and January, and this month of February fine-tuning our processes because I believe, I've learned from my losses that if we make as much things as we can measurable. So we tested, and if you go on our Instagram, you can see that now you can shop directly from Instagram, or if you go on our Facebook, you can see that we can shop directly from Facebook. If you make everything as much as possible measurable, right, you will have a mathematical decision to make, which is much better than an emotional decision. And so what we did was we've been testing. We've been testing radio. We've been testing print. We've been testing print in Trinidad, print in Jamaica, print in New York. We've seen what gets traction. Radio in Jamaica, radio in TT, radio in New York, radio in Miami, radio in Atlanta. Where are we getting traffic from? Publications, US publications, mainstream publications, CNBC, Instagram, Facebook. If we push product, if we push our service, where the levers are moving. And so now that we now know what we are clear on what our acquisition cost per customer is.
Nice.
Key in an e-commerce business. We're clear on what channels are working for us now because it can change, right? We're clear on when we get the biggest bang for our buck, and we're clear on what we're going to try and what we're not going to do anymore from what we tried already. So now is when we're going to go, here's a money pit and here's some money, dump it. And dump it on what we know works and dump it on some things that we try and watch the engine work. Watch the engine work. And we're looking forward to opening up Canada as the next market. That's going to create great scalability for our merchants. And then we're looking forward at the end of
April?
No, man. At the end of second quarter, we'll be launching the next 2 countries that we're going to be firing up on the platform because we are Caribshopper. So it can't just be Jamaica and Trinidad. We are Caribshopper. We have to stick to our name, and it's Caribbean growth. So we have identified the 2 countries. We're going to double down on it in May, and then by June, you'll see the announcements. So we're riding. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely. I mean, you probably identified them already, but I mean, you did identify them already. But I would say that Saint Lucia and Barbados both have pretty good entrepreneurial ecosystems in there. You know, they have a good network of entrepreneurs in there.
They do.
All right. So my next question. So, what is your favorite failure story? And I'll say favorite, I mean, just because of the impact it had on you and what you'd have learned from it and how it made you so much better and stronger. I mean, sorry to ask it that's off the cuff, but.
No, man, I love that. That's actually where you learn the most. All my failures, I've learned the most from it, right? So my favorite failure story has to be when I bought a hotel with one of my friends.
You bought a hotel?
Well, it's a guest house. So it was 5 cottages. Let's just put it that way. There's 5 villas on a property in Portland, right?
Okay.
And it was a passion project. But the one thing I didn't do is I didn't count the cost. We count the cost to renovate it because it was a renovation and build out. Mm-hmm. We did a great job on it, right? But what we didn't count the cost on, what maintenance would cost, cost and what it would cost to run a business like this with no experience in it. So strictly a passion play. And so it taught me the lesson is you don't know what you don't know, and never put good money behind what you don't know.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Right.
And that's the thing, and that's how most sophisticated investors think. They do not invest in things they don't understand. So anything that sounds like too much of a fad, like you like for instance, Michael Leachin always say, "Hey, I don't understand Bitcoin, so my money is not touching that." You know. All right. So Kadion,
but he should understand finances. His money should have touched a little bit, but hey. I am not the one. 60,000. I'm not the one. I am not the one.
Well, I mean, it's not something he understands. So he understands well. So yeah. So and neither me. I don't know. I understand finance. Okay, Bitcoin. Whoo. I don't know. It starts to look like I can literally look at the Matrix or something. All right, Kadion. So as we're getting ready to wrap up now. Is there anything that you wanna leave with our audience? Anything we didn't cover? Anything you wanna make sure that you get out there?
Yeah, I mean, the selfish plug is going to come, right? So www.caribshopper.com. Check us out. Buy your favorite Caribbean-made products, whether you're from Trinidad or Jamaica, right? We're looking for the support. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. And for the entrepreneurs out there, the SMEs out there, we're ready and willing to help. We're doing capacity building for entrepreneurs also. So we're helping them with their imagery, their copy, the whole 9 yards. And that is the hard dig that we have had to dig, but we know that's where the value is going to be created. Thanks Kevin for inviting me on this podcast, because this is a great chat, man. I actually enjoyed myself. It wasn't like stoic and okay, so tell me about your business, and then, right? It's been relaxing, and I hope some of the nuggets that have come from this conversation can aid and help somebody else in their growth and in their journey, right? Because the book isn't done yet and it's still being written. So looking forward to rally back on this podcast, and we can talk about where we are right now, right?
All right, podcast world, there you have it. Getting e-commerce right with Kadion Preston. Subscribe to Caribbean Power Lunch at caribbeanpowerlunch.com/subscribe. Check us out on Castbox, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, YouTube, wherever you listen or watch your podcasts. And with that, podcast world, Cabin Studios, this was Caribbean Power Lunch with your host, Kevin Valley, with Kadion Preston, and we are out. Thanks, Kadion.
Big up yourself.